Hey guys, welcome back. It's your favorite Gimp with a Limp and my guest host.
I'm not a guest host anymore.
Yeah, okay.
I'm
My
a co-host.
Gimpys
Gal.
Wifey host. And we're back with another quarantine diary. We had a few minutes after putting the kids to bed, thought we'd record one of these for you guys. And someone forgot to put her phone on silent. And
my phone's right here.
That was your tablet.
I guess so, yeah.
Alright, so this one we're doing in honor of May the 4th, because of course it's May the 4th be with you. You know, Star Wars.
Today's Star Wars Day.
Yes.
But we're not talking about Star Wars really, like
not specifically.
Not as it pertains to May the 4th. More so, I would consider this more of like a woke movement, a Generation X get woke. Like, what the hell does that mean? What is it doing to everything, including Star Wars, the board games? I mean, even as far as what's going on now, I'm sure in all of your states or wherever you live, businesses being shut down. I mean, it's literally every aspect of our world is affected by this whole get woke thing. And we just wanted to kind of talk about, like, break it down. Like, what the hell is it? Where did it come from? What do they think it's going to accomplish? And what is it actually doing to destroy everything that we've built and loved?
Yeah. So even if we just look at Star Wars as an example, okay? If you don't know, real brief snippet on Twitter, Disney had put out this Star Wars May the 4th be meme or Twitter tweet, whatever they call it.
Like a campaign to get people to share
their Star Wars memories, their special Star Wars moments over the years. But then they had, we've got terms and conditions associated with this, where they basically tried to say that they have a copyright over the May the 4th hashtag, and any of your tweets became their property in perpetuity, and you had no legal rights to them, and they could use them as much as they want without paying you, and this whole legal garbage.
And that's the dumbest thing. I'm not on Twitter. I don't do Twitter. I tried it. I can't. I just can't. I'm sorry. I can't.
Boo his Twitter.
We were joking about this before we hit record. We are elder millennials. So we are the elders of the community.
I'm an elder millennial. You're like smack dab.
I'm not. I would say I'm an elder. I'm towards the elder side of the one. Anyway, we're both older millennials, right? And this whole Twitter thing, I just never could get on board with it. But I think it's ridiculous because I know what hashtags are. They're on every social media platform and everyone uses them, right? So for anyone to say like, I'm going to take a hashtag and claim copyright on it, or claim that I own it. So if anyone uses that hashtag, then now whatever that hashtag is attached to is now my property. That's ridiculous. So many movies, so many people who created memes or quotes could then go back and say everyone that hashtagged that it's now my property.
Yeah.
It's so dumb. It does not make any sense.
Well, I mean, that's only the small snippet of what they did, right? So Kathleen Kennedy, I'm sure anyone who's a Star Wars fan knows who Kathleen Kennedy is.
The worst thing to happen to Star Wars. And I'll say that not being a like diehard Star Wars. I like Star Wars. Agree. I enjoy Star Wars.
The older stuff is better.
Yeah, I watched when we were dating. I had a marathon with his uncle while he was at drill one weekend, and we watched all of the movies. And I enjoy them. So yes, I would say I'm a fan, not a diehard fan, but even I know what she created destroyed it.
Yeah.
It destroyed it. Even I was like, this does not make any sense. This is so stupid.
The thing is she came at it with this hard angle. And George Lucas came out with Star Wars, back in the 70s, early 80s and all that. And his goal was to tell this space opera, to tell a good story. And it just turned out to be...
Space opera, like...
Yes. Yeah, like that. The Escape from Hades, space opera. But it was to tell a good story. So that was goal number one. Tell a good story. And then the characters and everything became, part of that.
No one could have known that it was going to become what it became.
I mean, it had laser swords in it. How could you not know? Her thing...
What was it, Disney that brought her on?
Yeah.
Okay. Bob
Iger, and, Bob Iger's top of Disney, and then he hired Kathleen Kennedy to head up the Lucasfilm side of everything, and
I personally believe if Walt Disney was still alive himself, this would have never happened, because he
technically still alive. Didn't he, freeze his head or something? Yeah, he does have his head
cryogenically frozen. But my point is, he cared about stories and Disney and what, it meant to be the magic of Disney, and Bob Iger, is that his name?
Yeah.
He cares about the dollar signs. He cares about how much money he can make with it.
All about that bottom dollar.
Walt cared about the magic of it all.
But it's not even... I don't get it. It's like... Why are you doing the crap that you do? I haven't even seen the last one.
And it's on Disney Plus. We have Disney Plus.
I looked. It's not on Disney Plus.
I bet you it's there today now.
It might be there today, but I hadn't seen it on Disney
No,
Plus.
while you're talking, I'll just look it up.
The thing of it is Kathleen Kennedy came at it with the idea of, I have an agenda, I have a goal, a narrative that I want to push, and we're going to tell the story around that.
And it's part of that get woke thing.
Yeah, and it's all part of the get woke thing, because her goal was to kill off all the old favorite characters, especially if they were white, especially if they were male, especially if they were male. She hates the male characters and is pushing this female narrative. And it's like, look, you don't push the narrative woke girl power in making women the
Rise of Skywalker.
Okay, so it's on there. I'll have to watch it now. I refused to pay money to watch it. I flat out refused, and we actually get Disney Plus for free through our phone, so I'm fine with doing it that way, but I won't buy any Disney stuff. Not after how they treated Star Wars, because Star Wars was so near and dear to me, and they did okay with The Force Awakens. But The Last Jedi really just tanked it, because it was this love letter to socialism and hating capitalism and hating on white men. And it's like, you can't... Men predominantly like science fiction, nerdy stuff, right? So why would... And the United States is predominantly white, so you're going to have predominantly white guys who are interested in your product. That's just the nature of the beast. It has nothing to do with saying that women can't like it. And plenty of women love Star Wars, though. But they love Star Wars because it was Star Wars. They didn't love Star Wars because it pushed a feminist narrative.
That's the thing that gets me, is this whole woke thing that brings this feminist, the new age feminist, which, by the way, by definition, new age feminism is not actually feminism, because feminism is about female empowerment, not trashing another gender.
Which is all they do.
Feel good. And feminism, or feminists today, are really ruining everything. Everything. Think of Ghostbusters, okay? This one bothers me because I'm a huge, that genre of movie. I like the more over-the-top slapstick, Saturday Night Live type of humor. So Ghostbusters...
You and Bill Murray down like 4 flat tires.
Yeah, so I appreciate that a lot. And obviously Ghostbusters is a classic. Everyone loves Ghostbusters. One of my favorites. I'm sure one of your favorites. Classic movie. Now, the cast that they had for this newest movie I wasn't mad about the cast, right?
Yeah,
because
individually they were
okay. Very funny. Each of them individually is hilarious. Kristen Wiig is one of my favorites. Melissa McCarthy is hilarious.
That's the fat one, right?
Yeah, the blonde one. What was her name? The one that does Ellen DeGeneres on SNL, and then Leslie, whatever. I can't remember her last name, but they are funny.
No, it's not Scott.
No, I don't know what her last name is, but they're on SNL. Most of them are, and they are hilarious. They are very, very funny women. So I was excited about how were they gonna kind of spin it and make it their own, right? What ended up turning me off to it is part of this get woke feminist narrative. And it was, they had Chris Hemsworth, Thor, as the secretary. And they made him dumb, and they made him a joke, and they made him nothing but basically eye candy for them. And they just...
But it wasn't like a joke in... slapstick, like the comedic relief.
No, it was so
insulting.
It was so over the top and so insulting and so deliberate that they chose someone like him, who is known to many as Thor in the Avengers, who is like the most alpha, me man that you could.
They did the same thing in the latest Men in Black.
It's
Men in Black International.
But then what gets me is they try to say, well, that's because in the original Ghostbusters, it was
Star
a girl.
Wars,
yeah, it was a girl secretary for the guys. But she was never, ever portrayed as stupid. They never insulted her. They never oogled her. They never made her out to be like a sex object. The stuff they did...
They poked a little fun at her.
No, it was more like her poking... It was in jest, and she was doing it to herself more.
And she was playing a character.
Yeah, it was like
receptionist
Ghostbusters. It was not... Yeah. She was not dumb.
You do that really well, by the way.
She wasn't dumb, and they never, ever tried to make it out like she wasn't smart, or she was just the secretary. She was your 80s secretary that was perfect for those kind of movies. There was nothing sexual about it. There was nothing mean about it. But the new one really went mean with it. And that's what bugs me about this whole feminist thing, is it's not about... We want to see Ghostbusters that are all women, because that would be fine. It's to do that, they had to rip apart the guy that was in the movie, and then the cameos for all of the original Ghostbusters were jokes. I missed 2 of the cameos because I literally blinked my eyes and I missed it.
Yeah.
He never even saw the Ghostbusters.
I refuse to watch it.
But it was bad.
It's like if you look at the Rey character, okay? If you take Rey in her arc, part of what everyone was drawn to with Luke was the character. It has to do with the story arc and the progression. With Rey, there was no progression because she was the Mary Sue from the start.
Yeah, exactly. It was
she was the beast.
Girl, boobs, vagina. I'm powerful just because
I can wield a lightsaber. Yeah.
I beat boy. I better than boy. Dumb, stupid. Even I know that doesn't make any sense.
Look at what happens, right? Luke starts off, he's weak, he doesn't know the Force, he needs to be trained, he fails in Empire, right? He doesn't do well. Vader smacks him around like a bitch, cuts his hand off.
Like the whole first movie, is it not him being freaking trained?
No, that's
like a bit, or is that the second movie?
That's the second movie.
That's the whole
Empire.
Like a huge chunk of that movie is Yoda like the best training him.
Could you imagine if it was Baby Yoda training him now though?
Oh, Baby Yoda! But there's
we love Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda's awesome.
Wait, keep talking. I gotta go grab that one that you got me off of it.
Oh, the Chinese thing? Yeah. God, no, that thing is horrible. It's horrible. So it's this Chinese knockoff. I ordered her a Baby Yoda, and in the picture it looked just like Baby Yoda. But it's not freaking Baby Yoda. Right. This thing's horrible.
Here's my Valentine's.
Okay. We'll get back to Rey and the Mary Sue-ness here in just a second.
Here's my Valentine's mug that he got me. Yes. Yoda Obi-Wan for me. That's what Baby Yoda should look like, right?
Yes,
we can all agree that's a good Baby Yoda. Here, why don't you hold up what they sent you?
This is the Baby Yoda.
Look at his face. I love him though. And he's so wonky.
I actually did a chargeback on PayPal through this thing because they never sent it. I ordered it as a Christmas present. And I was like, screw it. And this was $30, right?
He's still kind of cute. He's almost like one of those dogs that's like so ugly.
It doesn't look like Baby Yoda.
Let's leave him out since it's May the 4th.
Okay. Yeah, put him, up there. You can put him in the cup. There you go. But I ordered it and they never shipped it. And I contacted PayPal and I'm like, look, they never shipped this thing. And when I contacted them, they gave me a BS running around.
But it ended up coming even after you refunded it. But
PayPal gave me my money back
because it's so ugly,
and they still sent this piece of trash.
But anyways, okay,
all right. Let me get back to Rey. That's the problem, right? She had no arc. She started off powerful, and she stayed powerful. And the middle one, the Last Jedi, she's kicking the shit out of Luke. And you're telling me Luke, the most badass Jedi who's ever existed, the man, he took down the Emperor, will get his ass kicked by a girl who's never been trained, never had any real anything with the Force, and she takes a stick and knocks him around like a little bitch, and then they have him drinking 4-titty green milk.
No, but here's what did that guy say in that video? Remember he said about the alien, that funny video where he was talking crap about that movie, and he said something about drinking the
titty milk,
the
alien. It was something about green alien titty milk.
Yeah, it was freaking hilarious. Anyway, what I want to say is
they wanted to degrade the character,
but it's not just her. It's not just her that they push this woke thing with in that Star Wars, specifically in that Star Wars movie. Because think about I don't even know their names. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, but when they had
go for who you're talking about.
When they had the one guy that was part of the crew, and he was like, no, we need to do this. And she's like, no, I'm not listening to you. You're in trouble. I'm going to do what I need to do.
The little Asian chick that nobody likes.
No, not her. I'm talking about the blonde, the girl from Jurassic Park, that actress who she played in Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
How they made it like
Admiral
Poe.
chick.
Is that his name? Poe? What's
the
dude?
Poe.
How they made it out like he was this like, he was insulting her because she's a woman and she was the one that's in charge. You need to fall in line.
Anyone would have told that broad, like, we're having a mutiny because you're just driving us all to death.
That was another get woke thing that did not make any sense.
No commander would just ask their troops to die with no explanation whatsoever.
I've
got a plan. Oh, but part of my plan is to break the entire canon of Star Wars lore by turning around and flying in hyperspace into the enemy fleet where I just destroy it. Wait, that's never happened in the history of Star Wars, but now you're going to include it, so why didn't I know, but why didn't they have hyperspace weapons all this time before?
But they also killed the guy that everybody liked that would have been the next in command, right? This was not
Admiral Akbar.
That they just and I didn't. And I'll tell you this: I did not know who he was until
it's a trap
to me. But in the movie when we watched it, and he was like, "I can't believe they killed him." I'm like, he was in the movie. I didn't even know that's how little they paid respect to his character being killed. That's a huge moment. As big a character and as much as he's loved by Star Wars fans, there should have been a bigger moment if they were going to kill him. Same with Luke.
He was a male
having
character.
Luke be killed by Hollow, whatever, having himself not, he wasn't really there, and then he just vanishes into everything that she did in that movie that had to do with a hardcore, a core character that was male. It's like she went out of her way to do it in the most insulting, degrading way possible. And it's really sick. I'm sorry. I know it's a movie and people who don't care about it are going to be like, this is dumb. But to kill him the way they killed him, and I didn't even grow up with it. So that's why I'm saying, even as someone who's like, I appreciate that they're good movies and I like them. But even it made me mad. And even I knew having him die the way he died and having Leia all of a sudden, now she has the Force.
Yeah, she
all
Mary Poppins her ass back into the ship.
No. And then that stupid Asian chick that everybody hated. Like, it's just so...
God, I can't remember her name.
I can't either. But just everything in the movie
chick
that they
whose
could
doll
do.
has never sold. Like, they have...
Jane or something.
Landfills full of her Star Wars doll because it wouldn't sell. Not even at Christmas, nobody wanted this garbage.
What was that... In that part where, because she ends up going with Finn, right? Or he's I forget what happens, but there was something that happens that's really freaking irritating with her in that last scene.
She
with the
kisses
battle.
him?
Before that part, when they're like trying to shoot someone and like she like stops him from doing it because she's going to save him or something.
No, that's what he was racing at the big gun because they can't come up with new original ideas. It's always that the bad guys have a very large gun and they're going to shoot the good guys with it. And the good guys have to smash themselves into it until they stop it. I mean, that's all that's ever freaking happened. But Finn was going to do what he was going to do. He was going to fly into the big gun, and she comes flying out of nowhere and crashes her little speeder into his little speeder. And then as all the enemies around, she's like, ooh, kiss me. Mm. And it's like, dude, you could do better.
I hate her. That made me so freaking mad. That just, you know what? Just the whole thing they did to all of it.
I feel bad for the actress. I feel bad for the actress because she got put into a role that people were going to hate.
Think about it. She probably thought going into it, like, I can't believe I'm in a Star Wars movie. What a dream come true. And then she probably read her character and went, thanks.
Well,
Kathleen effing Kennedy.
They don't know because Hollywood lives in a bubble. The same bubble that the tech companies live in, that they think everyone thinks the way that they do about this stuff, and they keep churning out piece of garbage after piece of garbage after piece of garbage that no one wants, no one will pay for, bombs time and time again. I mean, look at it. You got the Star Wars movies, which were killed. They were a license to print money, and they destroyed it. Everyone is mad at Disney.
I don't think that they think people...
Terminator, Ghostbusters,
all of them.
Oceans, Bitches, damn, I can't remember all of them because they've got so many. There's like a plethora of these movies.
Again, he is not misogynistic, so he's not saying that his problem is that they're women. It's just like we've talked about before when we've talked about board games, right? And how if something happens in history, and if you make a board game and you want to have it be a black, white, green, brown, whatever character, because that's what that story calls for, whatever, we don't care. What we care about is when you take something that already was and you're changing it just to simply say it wasn't good enough the way that it was. Like, this whole changing it to female thing, it doesn't add anything to the story. And my thing is, if you're really a feminist, then you shouldn't want to take something that was male and turn it female as far as a cast goes.
Yeah, you want to build up your own female
brand.
Like,
if she wanted to make this whole, Rey thing, just start her story from scratch. Don't connect them. Don't try to take and have her destroy what
she ends up being
built for years.
There might be spoilers, so blah blah blah. But from the spoilers I looked up, evidently she's like Palpatine's granddaughter or some shit.
Oh, so they do finally explain something about where she came from?
Some of it, I don't know. It's just garbage. It's nonsense, and even that destroys it because supposedly like Palpatine is a clone or he had clones. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't seen the third movie yet, and the gist is she's even shitting on Luke's story because at the culmination of Return of the Jedi, he destroys the Death Star and he takes out the Emperor. Huge moment, brings peace back to the galaxy. Yay. Well, by saying that Palpatine lived through all that and bringing him back, you basically say that the rebels all died for nothing and they accomplished nothing. So in one fell swoop, she destroys all of the past accomplishments while saying what you really needed is a woman to do
I
it.
bet you George Lucas is pissed of their pick because it doesn't feel like she cares at all about Star Wars, and all she cares about is taking this thing that she thinks is the perfect example of toxic masculinity and ripping it to shreds and turning it into a female empowerment movie. That's all she cares about.
Let me segue here because we're not talking about just Star Wars. We're going to address all of it, or as much of it as we can, because there's so much of it. But she says toxic masculinity. I grew a freaking beard because of that toxic masculinity, and it was all thanks to that Gillette BS commercial where they attacked men. And I was like, nope, because I used to buy Gillette razors. I'm like, nope, hell no.
You stopped watching MTV for the same reason, because they had that New Year's ad, remember, where they were just crapping all over white men?
Yeah. It's like, no, I am not.
You got to insert that commercial.
Oh, yeah. I'll see if I can find it. Remind me when I'm doing my editing. But I will not support your products if you act like I'm a bad person because I was born a guy or I was born white. That is the epitome of racism and sexism. It's like, no, I'm growing a beard from here on out because I'm not doing this shit.
And that it gets me because I'm definitely not someone who likes being in like altercations with anyone or even in a disagreement with someone. It makes me feel very uncomfortable.
Oh, she thinks I am way too confrontational.
I feel like I have to agree with you or at least be as diplomatic as I can if I'm going to disagree with you, because that's how I was raised. But
really? You're very agreeable?
Not with you.
No.
But
gotta love her.
It gets me whenever I do see someone talk about this toxic masculinity, and I'll come, for example, in the wargaming industry, or genre, whatever you want to call it, there's been people who have said that it's very sexist, that women are pushed away, and that it's all these toxic men who oogle women. There was a post where these guys posted this picture of these two very attractive girls who happened to be wives of two of the guys that were there.
Yeah, they were yummy.
And they posed in front of a game, and that it was just a post about like, cool, look at what they're doing. And you would have thought that it was like someone clubbing a baby seal with the way people were reacting to it. And those girls wanted to take the picture. Like, they knew what they were doing. They were smiling. Sexy, and they wanted to pose in front of the game to get their husbands more attention for the game. Like, that had nothing to do with someone making them do it. And it certainly wasn't saying this is the only role that women can have in wargaming, because I have been, again, I'm not in the genre. I wouldn't consider myself any real part of anything other than being his wife. But even I've been treated with respect. And I've been treated like I am someone. Like, I've had people, there's a game that they came out with that they credited you for like inspiration or something. They put my name in that book too. And that was like the coolest thing ever to me. So it had nothing to do with like, they're going to leave me out because, I'm just the wife. They were showing me just as much respect. And while I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, because I'm sure there's pigs out there that do it in the wargaming genre, it isn't how people making it out to be. And this whole attack on men is just, I'm getting so sick of it.
It's the mindset that wargaming, well, we use wargaming since, that's my predominant topic, is dominated by men because the men are keeping out the women. And it's like, no.
It's because women aren't interested. I'm a woman, not interested. Sorry, I'm not.
No, there's a few games that you do like. Right?
Yes, there are a few, but I'm saying...
But it's not the first thing that you're going to pick up to do. That's not your hobby.
There's girls, even with this whole feminist thing, and it makes me laugh because it's so hypocritical. But the girls who go on to like Twitch and they pretend to play games just because they're a girl, it's like there are girls who will choose a predominantly male
genre,
hobby, field, whatever, and they'll go into it only because they're a girl and because they know they'll probably get more attention from
Remember that broad at WBC? Remember what she said? We were standing outside our hotel room.
Oh, she's like around the corner. Oh my gosh, I love it here because I'm like the hottest girl here. Like, this is so incredible. And I'm like...
Because she was like 1 out of 100.
Yeah,
there weren't a whole lot of women
there. And let's be real, I was there. So
yeah, I was telling you. I was like, go around the corner.
No,
mess up her day.
He thinks that about me, but I don't think that about myself. But anyway, there's nothing wrong with that. But women are not in it, at least not to my knowledge, because they can't. It's because they don't want to be. Just like you don't see many men.
You've been welcomed with open arms
Yeah,
all the time, right?
You know what they told me? Like I've had shirts sent to me. I've been included. I got to sit down at the WBC a couple years ago and watch a designer like teach us how to play his game before the game is even published. Like, why would he do that if it's we don't want you in? You need to get out. If it was a good old boys club, they would have kicked me out of the room. They would have said, sorry, this is for the men's eyes only. They didn't do that. They've never done that. So I hate that people keep shitting all over it and saying it's toxic mass. No, it's them. Like I said earlier, this new age feminism is what's toxic. I'm not going to teach my daughters that she can sleep with whoever she wants to and she can go out and make a career. Don't worry about the man.
That's a bad choice.
Like, I'm not with him because I have to be. I'm with him because I want to be. Like, I don't need a man to make me happy, but I want him to be in my life to make me happy. Because I'm a stay-at-home mom and a stay-at-home wife does not make me weak. And that's what new age feminism is teaching everybody.
And part of it is the fact that they act like a male-only space is something that's bad or should be attacked and shunned. And,
yeah, men
can't.
It's just like how
women need their space just as much as men need theirs.
It's just like
Each
how
deserves their own.
On the political spectrum, we won't say anything specifically, but I'll keep it vague. But how one side of the political spectrum, one side of it can't let the other side have anything that they're not part of, right? So like if I don't like what you're doing, I'm going to make sure that I either stop you from doing it or I infiltrate it. And that's what these girls are doing with these men-dominated hobbies. Like, oh, I don't like that you're doing it, so I want to be able to wrestle. I want to be able to play football. I want to be able to be trans and go box a woman when I'm physically a man.
Oh my
God. Wokeness.
Those mediocre guy athletes who are middle of the road will say they're trans and then go compete in the women's league and just straight dominate because it's not even anywhere near a level playing field. I mean, that I forget the woman's name, but it was some MMA fighter who cracked this girl's skull. There's a reason men aren't supposed to hit a woman because it's not freaking fair, man.
Although
that's just the truth of it.
On that whole situation, though, I am someone that does believe that if a woman's going to push a man and step up to the man, then she's opening her. Like, I don't think that a woman should be able to just beat the crap out of a man and
just get away with it.
He can't defend himself because if he hits her, he's automatically wrong. No matter if she hit him first, if he hits her, he's going to be in trouble. I don't agree with that.
See, and the thing of it is that little saying works, though. It's like, not all women. Women can compete with the boys. Remember that girl? I won't say her name just in case, but the female Marine that was a friend of ours.
I went to high school with a girl that was Molly Marine in her group. Yeah, so there are girls. And
but remember, this chick was straight swole. I mean, she was a lady, but she was swole. Like,
there are exceptions.
I would not step toe to toe with this girl if she stepped up to me. I'm like, you're done.
But his point is, there are girls who can do things. It isn't to say
she can compete with the boys any day.
Yeah, it isn't to say like anything you can do, I can do better. It's not about that. It's just physically speaking, he has different muscles and different tone than I do. So even if I was at my top physical condition, I still wouldn't be able to take him on because God made us the way that we were made so that they would be the protectors. That's just the way that it is. It doesn't mean that it's sexist or wrong or that we're less than or that we're weaker.
Yeah.
But physically speaking, yes.
Well, you remember what I say about it, that they push this narrative about, women being best. And it's like, you don't make women better by making them the best man they can be. You make them better by making them the best woman they can be.
The whole feminist movement complains about not enough women being in certain industries, right? So they want to want to force women to go into those industries?
Time out. You ever notice, though, that it's always like boardroom jobs or CEO or, high level, high paying jobs that they're going after. You never see them pushing for equality in the guys that work in the sewers
or the
ones that pick up garbage.
They don't want equality in that. They want equality.
Yeah, it's those not about slimy, equality. Disgusting jobs, and some of them pay very well.
It isn't about equality for them. That's the whole thing. Is it's not about equality. It's about
power and control.
I want to have it better than like the whole joke that someone made about how it's like a buffet. It's like, well, I want equal pay, which by the way, that's such BS. But I'm not even going to get into that. I want equal pay, and I want say benefits and this and this and this and this and this, but I don't want to be drafted if there's ever a draft.
Okay, and along the lines, let me brief the history for those of you who don't know what she's talking about. Real short version is, of course, way back in history, the only people who could vote were like the gentry, the landowners. the people of wealth. Only they could vote or have a say in things. And of course, things changed over time. And it got to the point where men could vote. And at one point, it was, only white men could vote. Blacks, still slaves at the time. We got past all that. And it was still men. And then we had women's suffrage. But part of the women's suffrage movement that a lot of people don't know is that there were many women who didn't want the right to vote.
Because with that came
responsibility. And part of that responsibility was the draft, having to serve on the fire bucket brigades. There were things in your community you had to be responsible for, in part when it came to voting.
So the men that were going against that weren't going against it because they didn't want a woman to vote. They were doing it to protect the women.
Yeah.
Then the women that were going against it were doing it because they wanted to be protected. They didn't want to have that.
That's what she's talking about, cherry picking, that they ended up getting the right to vote without also then taking on the responsibility, because the draft is still a male-only thing.
Well,
men have to register to draft when they turn 18, but women don't. That's not equality.
No, and the same thing, like you talk a lot about like custody things of when families split, and you don't ever hear a woman say, well, I think the courts should be more even when it comes to mother-father benefits, and that it's mostly the women that get full custody of their children.
Something like 80%
and the men
of the
get
time.
Visitation. Sorry, I don't care. It should be 50-50. It should be 50-50 regardless, with no child support, because it should just be equal.
Barring, of course, mitigating circumstances.
Right. There are going to be exceptions, but that's what we say, or that's what we mean when we say that they don't want everything. They don't want it to be equal. They want it better. They want to walk into the court and say, oh, that guy touched me and it was inappropriate. And they want the guy to immediately be found guilty, throw him in jail, locked up. He's a horrible, awful person. Let's condemn him, right? But if a woman's accused of something like that, which probably won't happen, because if they'll laugh the guy in the face. Like, there are plenty of men that are abused by their wives. There are shelters, very, very few of them, but there are shelters that exist for men who are domestically abused by their wives. But the thing is, if they call the cops and say, like, she's beating me, they're going to get laughed at. They're not going to believe them. Like,
the last figure I heard was roughly 40%. 40% of domestic abuse is done against men. Now, that's like at the low end, so it might even be 50-50%.
And this whole equal pay thing and equal job, sorry, but when it comes down to jobs, I do think it should not be a racial thing or a sex thing. It should just be who is better qualified for the job, end of story, right? Yeah. But even when they did that,
it's all merit-based.
Even when they took out sex and all of that, it still was men who would end up getting the job.
They did that in Australia. In Australia, they did this experiment because these movements were swearing that if they took away the identifier, so you didn't have a name or a sex, you just had a number, that more women and more minorities would be hired for jobs. What they found out was that when it came to race, that really was still roughly even across the board. It didn't change a whole lot. But when it came to sex, when they took out the names and they didn't know the sex of the person, that men were getting hired disproportionately more than women. And that's when they complained again and said, no, put the sex back into it. Don't hire based on merit. And it's like, no, you hire based on merit. You hire the best person for the job. It doesn't matter if they're a man, woman, other, black, white, yellow, whatever it is. Whoever's best gets the job. I don't want the brain surgeon who was a diversity hire carving at the surgeon, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's just like Steven Crowder, who does these like change my mind things, and I've seen so many of them where the girls or just students in general of this get woke movement will come in and they'll start spouting off this whole systematic racism.
And they're so hostile.
And there's all these things that are put in place for the white man to benefit him, and then he'll point out, okay, is there a scholarship for just white men that white men get? Is there any benefit that they get just for being white and coming to the school? Well, that's not the no. Is there a minority scholarship that exists for this college campus? Well, yeah, but that's because they have to do it. Is there one for women? Yes. Is there one for single? Is there one for basically everything else except for white men? And not only that, but I forget what I was going to say. Basically, it's just irritating.
You make a good point, though.
That colleges act like, and it's a lot of these students. My brother is a prime example of what colleges do to people. We grew up in a very conservative, very, pretty Christian-based kind of place, and now it seems like he's kind of joined this whole get woke thing. And what bugs me is that it's not about being woke. He almost hates
himself.
Yeah, he's like an apologist for being white, and
why? What has he done wrong in his life?
Because this get woke movement has made people believe that if you're white and you don't act ashamed of it, then you're a bad person. You're racist if you don't feel ashamed of being white. I'm not ashamed of it at all, and I'm not going to teach my kids to be ashamed of it. I'm going to teach them to be proud of it, because that doesn't make you who you are as a person. Just because I'm white doesn't mean that, like, you can sit there and think all you want, well, she's had privilege because she's white. You don't know anyone's individual stories and struggles. And just because things are different for this person and that person, it doesn't mean that, like, this life is worth more than this life, or that they deserve to be helped and this person deserves to be shit on because of it.
Yeah.
Like, we all should just stop with this whole it's about tearing this side down to build it up. Instead of tearing someone else down to build yourself up, why not just reach out a hand and help them up?
I think MLK said it best when he was saying that judge a person based on the content of their character rather than the color of their skin. Judge a person based on them. Are they good? Do they have merit? Have they excelled in their life? Do they work hard?
That's what I teach my kids. Bradley.
Bam. That's what you need to look at. It doesn't matter what's between their legs. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter who they sleep with. And it doesn't matter what color they are. None of immutable characteristics like that are the most inane, stupid things to judge people by. And I can't believe in the year 2020 that we still have this crap going on where people push the narrative so hard about this black this and white that and Asian this and female and girl that. And who gives
Somebody literally called the president racist for saying that blank started in China, because that's where it started from.
Oh, God, I love it. Can I put in the clip?
Why do you keep using this? A lot of people say it's racist.
It's not racist at all. No, not at all. It comes from China. China. That's why. It comes from China. I want to be accurate.
That are part of this woke movement, and claiming that this racism and this systematic racism and white privilege and women not being allowed to play war games and
I'd sure
and
like to know what privilege I got.
Like, they're the same ones who make everything about those things, where we just want to say, it doesn't matter. I don't care who you sleep with. I don't care what you identify as. I don't care who you worship. I don't care I don't care. I don't care about anything other than what's in your heart. Are you a good person, and are you going to bring something positive and uplifting to my life? And can I do the same for you? That's it. And that's what we're raising our kids to be. So this whole get woke movement is bull. It's hypocritical, because they're not doing anything. Well, stopping around and complaining about something and needing to have safe rooms because you're so stressed out. That's not getting woke.
I want it out of my damn hobbies. All right. So I'm not going to push the political narrative just because I don't want to get into it. But I do try to protect my little sphere, my little corner of the world. And I don't want this. And I see it creeping in, a little bit more day after day after day, where you can't, and especially since we deal a lot with historical things. And I notice in video games, you can't have any of the Nazi symbolism in there. And I kind of get that to a point. I mean,
that's sensitive, but it's not like it's not
SS lightning bolts on a counter is not going to hurt anyone. And if you personally are offended or you don't want to see that,
then don't play it.
You don't have to play the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a part of history.
It's like movies. It's like, okay, the same people aren't going to go out and say that 12 Years a Slave should have never been made.
Yeah. They drop the N-bomb in that one like every 10 seconds. And then Django. Or Django, rather, not D-Django.
Yeah, that's the thing.
The D is silent.
It's just stupid. They're just dumb.
They push that onto our games, and they've pushed it into video games. They've pushed it into board games, especially mainstream gaming. They've pushed very hard with it. And I'm sorry. Truth be told, if women wanted to play war games as much as men did, there would be no stopping them. All right, they would be the majority in a freaking heartbeat.
But I also feel like men should be able to women have their things. Like, we have a little crafty group that we do in our in our cul-de-sac where all the women get together and knit and sew. The men don't want to be a part of that. And if they did, we probably would say, sorry, this is the girl thing. So,
but there's nothing wrong with you having your
there's
space.
nothing wrong with men having something that are for the guys. Guys need that male camaraderie time away from their wife and their kids just as much as women need it with their friends. And there's nothing wrong with the women when they go out and do it. But for some reason, you can't let the man have that same thing. He goes to X-Wing night. Not that I really ever thoroughly enjoyed X-Wing.
I used to go to X-Wing night.
But, well, not recently. But my point is like he has that. I have my craft night. But I'm not threatened by his X-Wing night. I've never tried to interfere with it or take away from it or be a part of it. Oh my God,
you've been supportive. Ungodly supportive.
And same thing with me. Anytime the girls wanted to do something, he's like, go. Because everyone needs that time. And it's not just getting away from the kids and having some me time. It is, girls need the girl time. Just like guys need that guy time. And if girls are there, guys cannot have the same conversation they would have. Because the girls will be offended.
Remember your old group? And it was a group of people you used to pal around with, and a bunch of the wives, girlfriends got together, and you were talking to another one, and you two were kind of hanging back a little bit because the others were all insulting their men and complaining and bitching about them, and you two are kind of looking at each other like, if they hate their guys, why are they with them? You know, like, what purpose is it? If you're going to just complain about your man the whole time,
that's what the woke movement and the feminists today would make you think. That being a good feminist or being a good girl today is insulting your man. Like this whole simp. What is it? Simp?
Oh, simp. Yeah. Oh my God.
Nothing infuriates me and turns me off more than a guy that, like, we watched this video of this guy where they were making a joke about him.
No real girl wants a simp.
Where he was like,
trust me, guys.
She's like, come on, I'm going to stick it in now. And he's like, okay. Remember that video they're making fun of him?
Oh, yeah. The dude's name's Steve. I can't remember.
Like, that is not attractive. I'm sorry, if a girl is with a guy like that and she thinks that's attractive, then she's a lesbian. Because I don't want to be with a woman. I want to be with a man. I don't want a guy that's telling me like that I'm bossing around and I'm the drop, get out and go. No. It just...
there's a partnership, but women there's a reason they go after the bad boys. There's a reason they have the epitome. There's a reason they want the alpha, right? Women want that alpha. They want that manly, masculine figure. That's what they. But
those same men are the ones that treat us like queens. Feminists aren't treated like queens because they don't want to be treated like a queen. They
real
want their
masculine
man to be a servant.
Treats his wife appropriately.
Yeah,
and takes care of it. Doesn't mean you never have a fight.
Anyway,
but you can work your stuff out. But no girl wants to have a guy going, honey, is it okay? It's okay. Are you mad at me? Did I do everything
I'd be like,
right?
Bye.
Can I wash the dishes again for you, please?
I can't.
Please?
This whole
dollar bills.
Get woke thing to me, it's a joke. It's a joke. I don't get it. I don't understand it. There's nothing that makes sense. Everything it has touched, Star Wars, Ghostbusters, gaming, movies, entertainment as a whole, the family, colleges, it has destroyed. It's destroyed everything.
Yeah.
And I don't understand how people that are a part of that can't see how dumb and hypocritical what they're doing is. It's so infuriating.
I know this is slightly off topic about what we're talking about, but it's in the realm of it. What really gets me is that you have people who try to hate on America, saying that it's hateful, it's bigoted, it's racist, and it's sexist, all this crap. I've traveled to a lot of countries. Anyone who's been in the military generally does.
Oh, and then they support Islam.
Well, yeah. It's like... there's real racism, there's real sexism out there, and you say nothing about it. You say nothing about women who get mutilated or have acid thrown in their faces or who have honor killings. You say nothing about this stuff.
That happens today. Like in England, there are girls that are part of, like, I think it's a Muslim community that have been honor killed, brutally murdered by their own families because they were becoming westernized. And the family moved them to that country. But then when they started socializing with the people of that country, they were honor killed for it and shamed. And if they're raped, they're blamed for it. Like, but the same...
Or in court, it takes 3 women to equal the word of 1 man.
In these places, yeah. And then these are the people
that
the
Get Woke movement. Sexist?
But not just that. This is the people that the Get Woke movement want to let come in here by the droves. And they're the ones supporting that, saying like, we support you. But if you're a white man in America, you're racist and awful and sexist. But we support this religion who literally shits on women. It's baffling. It's so dumb. It's like, wake up and think for yourself. That's the problem. Get woke is not about being woke. Because to me, getting woke means you wake up from your hazy dream and you go, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm not buying everything I'm being told. And I'm going to think for myself. I'm going to do my own research. I'm going to think outside of what someone's telling me to think. And I'm going to be my own person and do what I feel is right. That is not what being woke is. To them, being woke is following orders and being a drone. And it's stupid. Yeah. Wake up, get woke. Or get woke.
Or the fact that they want to cancel everything they disagree with. What happened to honest debate and discussion? If you silence and shut down everyone who doesn't agree with you, all you end up with is an echo chamber where there's no growth, no intellectual thought, because there's no new thought brought in, right? And I think Hollywood and the tech conglomerates are very, very bad with this, because they openly shun anyone who doesn't think the way that they do.
It's just
they think everywhere is like that because they never hear a dissenting opinion.
I don't think they think that. I think they just don't care. It's just like what's pertinent to now with this whole reopen or stay quarantined, right? There's two sides. It's very split down the middle. Very split down the middle. And you have people who truly believe everything should open up, people who think it should stay quarantined. But there's never this respectful exchange that happens. It always turns into this like attack, and it's you're wrong and I'm right. And it's not, well, why do you think this way? Okay, well, here's why. Like, because whatever someone else says.
People have been trained to do that.
Yeah, it's just across the board. It's just like, it's a joke. And it's ruining everything. And what I hope for our kids' future is that the Get Woke movement actually does wake up and start thinking for themselves and start going back to what matters. Like now, instead of us hating each other and turning on each other and making this like a divisive thing, what we should be doing is coming together and standing up and saying, we're a strong people that's going to come through this. Not, if you don't agree with me, you deserve to die.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not constructive.
I wonder what would happen. Can you guys, especially you history aficionados out there, imagine how the country would react if Pearl Harbor happened tomorrow, right? When Pearl Harbor happened, everyone in the country, they banded together. They felt united.
Well, we had experienced that with September 11th. We did experience that with September 11th.
But briefly. That was 20 years ago, right? When you think about it.
It's been a while ago.
It's been a long time since that happened. So Pearl Harbor, as the example, businesses came together to build weapons and to build the food and everything that they needed because we knew we were going to war. People, now, yes, there was still racism in the military. Blacks weren't treated as well as they should have been. But for the most part, everyone came together. I really love the movie, the Tuskegee Airmen, and their story and the fact that they never lost a bomber. And I respect the hell out of that because in the face of adversity and people spitting in their face and saying they couldn't do it.
They still did it.
They stood up and said, we can do it, and we're going to do it better than everyone, and we're going to, kick ass.
And
they never lost a bomber to enemy action.
Yeah, it wasn't like, oh, poor us. Everyone should feel bad for us because we're treated so bad. It was like, you know what? Space. No, we're strong and we can do it better. That's what's wrong with people. Instead of standing up and trying to be prideful in things that you do now, it's taking and being a victim. It's this whole victim mentality, right? And it shouldn't be that way.
When you think of yourself as a victim, you're taking away your own power, your own ability to strive and overcome. The Tuskegee Airmen didn't think of themselves as victim, even though they were victimized by the military and people around them. They thought of themselves as smart and powerful and that they were going to kick ass and they were going to fight for their country and they were going to be damned if anyone was going to stand in their way of doing it. And that's what the hell they did.
And good for our racist president for honoring them in his State of the Union speech.
Yeah. That
because
he did as well.
And I said racist like this because I obviously don't think that he is. But everyone likes to say that he is. But he made a big special thing in his State of the Union talking about what they went through.
And see, one of the things I know, so I think the military is great for this, is because you really...
Start to wrap it up. My back's hurting.
Your butt's hurting?
My back is hurting.
I'll rub your butt for you.
No.
When I was in the military, we didn't see race. I mean, of course, we still saw each other's race, but it wasn't the focus. I didn't give a crap what the color the guy was next to me. I cared if it was a good guy, and that was my brother, and I was going to die to defend him, and he was going to die to defend me. And we're still like that. I still talk to guys, especially over Facebook. Technology is great for keeping in touch with each other. And there was a black friend of mine on Facebook, and they were having this race discussion, and I said something, and one of his black friends tried to jump all over me for being a white boy, and he jumped in there defending me, like, no, I know this kid. He's a good guy. I've known him for years. He's honorable. Leave him the hell alone. And that's the way it was. We suffered together. We went through hell together, so we had mad respect for each other.
No, they couldn't
we said the worst stuff to each other, too.
They couldn't afford to say, oh, you're black or you're white, so I'm not protected. Don't have my back. I don't want to have your back.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know. We're all in this together, and that's how it should be the same thing now. We shouldn't have to be in a crisis situation for us to say, no, we're all in this together. No one's better than anybody. No one's right. No one's wrong. Everyone's doing the best they can, and we just need to come together and get through this.
There's no African American. There's no Mexican American, Canadian
It's American, period.
Yeah. I don't think of myself as
and guess
Native
what?
American.
My Mexican
I'm an American.
grandfather will be the first to tell you that. My Mexican
God,
Trump-supporting grandfather who wears the Make America Great hat everywhere he goes will be the first to tell you.
That dude is horrible. He is like, he is awesome as hell. This guy he's big, he's strong. He was a tough guy, Green Beret.
He's 80 years old and he still like lifts weights and is like.
And he's got like a hardcore Hispanic accent too.
And he says Jesus.
Yes. We thank you, Jesus.
You can't even say it right. Jesus.
I love her grandfather. That man is just awesome. And he is the same way. He thinks of himself as an American and that America comes first. We should all be united. There's none of this other crap. There's no hyphen. In America.
No, he's not Mexican American. He's American.
Yeah.
Because he fought for this country and he is a citizen.
He wanted to come here and be free.
And he is. The American dream is not coming and getting things given to you. It's coming here and being able to work hard, hold your head up high, and be proud of it. Like Mark was saying today, our neighbor was talking about woodworking, just as a small example.
We're sitting on
using
a bench
your
right
hands
now,
to make something for your family. It makes you proud and more appreciative of that piece of item, no matter what it looks like.
What you trying to say?
I'm saying if a professional woodworker were to see it, they might go, "That's not perfect," or "There's a flaw here or a flaw there."
There's a lot
Guess
of flaws.
what? We don't care because he is proud of it, and I treasure it more because he built it from scratch. And that's what America's lacking today. Just with this whole virus thing that's going on, we've noticed. And I even noticed it specifically affecting me as far as I never thought I would have to stand up and fight for anything as far as my rights go. And this has really made me realize if you don't stand up and fight for something, you really will fall for it all.
For anything.
That is so true. So this is when we need to be coming together. This whole get woke thing needs to redefine and look at what they're standing behind.
If you think
about
anything
that matters.
What I pointed out to her the other day was it's been almost a century since Americans
have been threatened.
were really at risk of having their liberties infringed upon. America had to go to war to get our freedom, to get our independence. We had to fight off England, and it was farmers. It was men who left plowing the fields, put their lives at risk, put their families at risk because they were willing to risk everything to have their freedom.
Yeah, we haven't had to do that. So, and it's pretty sad that it's been our own people taking away these rights. But anyway, let's wrap it up because it's already been quite a long video.
We could talk about all this crap. Just think about what we said. And the thing is you don't have to agree with us, right? You don't have to agree with everything that we've said. We can have a difference of opinion, but open your mind up to the fact that people can see things differently, that it doesn't matter what color someone is, what they have between their legs, or who they sleep with. None of that crap matters.
Or what religion they are, or what side of the political spectrum they're on. It doesn't matter. I have learned that I respect and appreciate all sides of it, right? Some of my closest friends are completely opposite of me on almost all aspects. But I still respect and appreciate them. And that's what it comes down to. Just a general respect for each other. And just being able to say, okay, you know what? You don't think like me. And that's okay.
And stop with the cancel culture shit. Just stop with it, right? If you don't agree with someone.
Or what's her name? Lucy Liu?
Susie Liu.
Susie Liu.
Susie. Oh, she's on OnlyFans now, right?
Don't even. I'm not. We can't.
That chick is horrible. God, she's a train wreck.
She's a prime example of this get woke movement, though. She's doing something wrong. Someone called her out for it. And then she wants to attack them and shut them down because they had an opinion that she didn't like. That's not how it works.
She's lost more subscribers in a day than I've ever had. How bad is that?
All right, guys.
Okay.
Happy I was about to say Space Wars Day.
Space Wars
Happy
Day.
Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. And
Yeah, may the 4th.
today was the 4th episode of Quarantine Diaries. Funny, huh?
Yeah.
May the 4th be with you. So you could say May the 4th Quarantine Diaries or Quarantine Diaries episode May the 4th or something.
May the
funny.
4th Quarantine Diary be with you.
Something. Yeah, that's funny.
We'll come
I
up
forgot.
with a little something.
Sorry if we kind of rambled.
Hold on. Let me try something before we sign off here. It doesn't.
He's
work.
trying this thing that this channel does where they snap and girls appear in bikinis. Not just bikinis, and usually in American flag bikinis and sometimes holding guns.
What is it? The Black Flag Coffee or the...
I don't know what they're called. It's a bunch of military guys.
It's a bunch of military guys, and they have their hot girlfriends, and they will like snap, and they jumped into a cutscene where they're in bikinis. But it's funny though, where the girl snaps back at him and puts him in bikini.
Yeah, that's a funny channel.
Good guys though, like guys I get along with. But anyway, we'll stop rambling here. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I know we covered some hot topics. I expect to have lots of thumbs downs from a few of you assholes.
So how about
out
this?
there.
If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs up. If you hate us, subscribe and give it a thumbs up.
Yeah,
we're gonna eliminate the thumbs down option because we're gonna be woke and not let anyone have a negative opinion against us.
I doubt whoever it is will see this, but I'm gonna put it out there anyway. Whichever one of you is always putting a thumbs down in every video she's in, can you put like a comment? Because we're taking bets on who you are.
Why don't you like me? I'm calling you out. Why are you disliking every video I'm in? There's always, what is it, one or four?
It's like, yeah, every video you're in, for some reason,
literally
there's
the second it goes up. Down. So whoever it is, hi, I'm living rent free in your head because the second this video goes up, you're going to be clicking thumbs down. So grow a pair and comment in the comments what your problem with me is.
I am curious of who it is. All right, but hope you guys enjoyed it. Y'all take care. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye, guys. Let me see. It's dry. Let me see. Let me see your cheek. Let me see your cheek.
No.
No, I didn't do anything.